I think you got to tip your hat to, Little Rock. I think obviously, one of the best teams in the league from a talent standpoint, but then also, an offense and defense execution standpoint. I thought they were really good. And I think that, over the course really of 40 minutes, I think as crazy as it may seem, I think offensively we were having plenty of good moments from an execution standpoint. I thought we missed a lot of good looks early in the first half that we've been making, and then I thought that really snowballed in the second half. I thought we missed more open looks from three. We missed some layups at the rim, missed a couple free throws. So I think overall, I think it was just hard to overcome a really below average offensive shooting night against a team that's as good as Little Rock.
Even the top teams of the conference, regardless, you're gonna have nights like this, right?
Yeah.
It's a really long season, and it's not as though your team has been playing bad ball.
Yeah.
A really big win over an in-state rival just on Thursday. You've got another really tough test coming up. Luckily, some time in between to heal the bodies. What's probably the number one thing you're going to focus on this week as you get ready for that SIUE game?
Yeah, I think overall is making sure that, and we kind of talked about this in the locker rooms, making sure that we understand, we're headed into basically the second half of the conference season. We've seen everybody once, we play everybody again. So I think two things. One, the understanding of how this team continues to improve, because again, we've had some really good moments in the first 10 games of the conference, and I don't think we've had, many bad ones. We talked about it a little bit. We didn't play well for 20 minutes at Moorhead, who's first place in the league, and we didn't play well tonight for probably, 20, 25 minutes tonight. And, you can't have those stretches against good teams. So besides that, the other 8 times out, we've been pretty competitive, and we've either won or I think we've kind of gone to the last, 4 minutes with a chance to win, which is really what we talk a lot about. So I think understanding we've got to stay on that same path of improvement. And then what can we do the second time around against teams, adjustments, mental things. How do we get better specifically against people? Because it doesn't matter if we won or lost that game. These second time around games always present new challenges to you. So, where's your focus at? If just because we beat SEMO, we should never feel like we're just going to beat them again, or just because we lost a close game at Eastern Illinois, that doesn't mean you're going to beat them at home, so it's how you prepare and it's how you continue to get better. And that's where a lot of our focus will be.
Second time around, but it's going to be potentially some new faces, right? Because you've had some guys in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Coach Bean talked about that at the half. And like it or not, the health has been a bit of a story, at least the last several weeks. Do you feel like you're where you want to be in terms of the cohesion between the guys and the chemistry on the court? Or are you still trying to find that chemistry with some of the rotations?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think that, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. I think when you lose guys, I think you can simplify some things real quick, and the decisions you make on your rotation obviously are they're not as big because you're limited. And I think it's just as hard. I think it's harder when guys start to come back, because now you got to figure out how to fit guys back in, how the minutes change, how roles don't change. Obviously, it's just about finding those groups. And I think we're pretty close, really, to be honest with you. I don't think we slipped much. I don't think we lost a bunch as we've added guys back in. And I think it's about, your term cohesion, I think is important for us, because I think we've taken some big steps in that direction in the last couple of weeks, regardless of who was in or out. And so I think now what we need to do is just kind of wrap our heads around and our arms around having everybody in at the end here healthy. Can we stay healthy and move forward?
The effort, tonight felt pretty good for most of the contest. The shot selection with just the 4 made 3-pointers, you had some open looks, like you mentioned at the opening statement, that you felt like you missed. Is there a certain point midway through the game when you in one of those huddles in the timeout where you're trying to maybe pass up on some of those open looks just because of the way the game is going, or do you always entrust those guys to keep shooting?
Yeah, I think like I said, I thought from an offensive execution standpoint, we were doing some really good things, things against their defense that we specifically talked about. And so, no, I think when Nate Johnson has open threes after we've moved the ball and we've shared it, you got to trust that he's going to make it. And Aeneas has been so good for us, a lot of nights. And, I just feel like the next one's going in, and as long as it's within the offense, as long as it's within what we're trying to execute, that's what we want to do, we don't really coach makes or misses. We just coach good possessions. And I thought we had a lot of good possessions, and it just wasn't our night to see it go in.
This, I feel like, is one of the toughest stretches of the season when it comes to just kind of managing the games and the workload. Luckily, in the midst of the 4-game homestand, but it's still a lot of basketball in a short period of time. How do you balance off a loss like this, having a good week of practice, with also healing up for the test ahead?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that, like I told the guys, some nights, sometimes on the Thursday games, you just kind of got to kind of let it go and get ready for Saturday. But I think this one, we need to make sure that we learn from it. I mean, again, I said we did some positive things. We also had our fair share of mistakes, especially on the defensive end, that let them have, 2 big scoring runs in the first half that were big. So I think it's just important that we need to have a bad taste in our mouth about this, even though we did some positive things in a bad loss. But I think we've got to be able to learn from this, and we've got to watch some film that we probably don't want to see, and we got to own it, right? We got to own some missed shots. We got to own some shots that we got blocked that we could have went stronger to the basket, and I think that will build our toughness a little bit as we head into to this last stretch. And we're a team that needs to be working all the time, so we need to get back in here on Monday and get to work.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate it.